Good morning. Now today we will start with lecture of peritoneum. In this I will explain you peritoneum in simplified form. Figures will be in diagrammatic and line diagrams. Now what is peritoneum? Peritoneum, it is a serous sac. It is closed serous sac. It is a large serous sac present in relation with abdominal parietes and abdominal viscera. Now this total peritoneum means, as it is a serous sac, it will cover inner aspect of abdominal wall. Then it will cover viscera present inside abdominal cavity. Now, but there is a small difference. This serous sac, you can say, now next here, in this serous sac, this total peritoneum cavity, it is divided into, or you can study by dividing it into two parts, greater sac and lesser sac. Therefore, we will see these two, greater sac and lesser sac, and we will trace these peritoneal reflections in relation with its vertical disposition and horizontal disposition. First, we will see vertical disposition. Which structures visible in vertical disposition? Vertically, from above downward. If we trace these peritoneal reflections, first, we will start with uppermost part of this peritoneal deflection in relation with greater sac. Now, how these peritoneal folds get reflected in relation with upper aspect of abdominal cavity? It is reflected in relation with diaphragm. First, this peritoneal deflection shows attachment to diaphragm, inferior surface of diaphragm. From here, from this diaphragm, it will go downward towards liver. In relation with liver, these peritoneal deflection shows attachment on the surface of liver. How these attachment are visible? You can see it is posterior and inferior aspect or surface of liver. In relation with this, right side and left side, right lobe of liver and left lobe of liver. Dotted line is actual attachment of this peritoneal reflection in relation with surface of liver. Therefore, how it will show attachment on the surface of liver? On right side, it will show attachment in relation with posterior and inferior aspect. How? You can see there is a triangular area, and in this triangular area, you can see here, in relation with this, there is a right triangular ligament. Now this one is right triangular ligament indicated by arrow. Now continue upward, there is a superior coronary ligament. It is a part of the same peritoneal fold which is reflected from this inferior aspect of diaphragm. Now this is upper layer of coronary ligament. Same, continue towards right side of this liver as right triangular ligament. In relation with this lower aspect, now it is continue as an inferior layer of coronary ligament. Now these layer continue. Now we will trace these layers towards left side. You can see if you follow this arrow, you can see attachment of this peritoneal reflection in relation with this surface of liver. You can see this one is inferior vena cava in relation with liver. Now on the left side of this inferior vena cava, there is attachment of this line of this peritoneal reflection in relation with liver. Or you can say, now this one area is caudate lobe of liver indicated by arrow. On right margin of this caudate lobe of liver, there is attachment. Trace towards right or towards left, then it will go and it will follow this left margin of caudate lobe of liver downward, and then it shows one continuous anterior and posterior layer of lesser omentum. What is lesser omentum and where other attachment of this lesser omentum? We'll see. We'll trace all these fiber, but on the surface of liver, it will form lesser omentum. anterior layer and posterior layer of lesser omentum, and these are actually reflections of this peritoneum in relation with surface of liver. Now trace. Now both these lines. Now this is fissure for ligamentum venosum. You can see this arrow indicating here. This is fissure for ligamentum venosum, and this fissure for ligamentum venosum, it is showing attachment of this. It is showing attachment of this peritoneum here in relation with liver. Now in between fissure for ligamentum venosum and here on right side there is presence of inferior vena cava. Now here this one is caudate lobe of liver indicated by arrow. Therefore now this porta hepatis, and inside this content of this porta hepatis mainly is bile duct, portal vein, hepatic artery and bile duct. Here now this one is forming anterior and posterior layer of lesser omentum. You can trace. Now this is fissure for ligamentum venosum. Now again trace toward left side. You can see two layers of this here left side on the surface of posterior aspect of this left lobe of liver is left triangular ligament, and these are two layers of this left triangular ligament. This is in relation with this posterior and inferior surface of liver. From this now again this is left triangular ligament indicated by arrow, and this is right triangular ligament. In relation with this inferior surface up to inferior margin of liver, it will show gallbladder. And now in relation with this is posterior and inferior surface of liver, this is attachment. Now you see remaining attachment. In this figure you can see liver just below the surface of diaphragm. Now from this liver you can trace. If you trace anteriorly from this anterior surface of liver, this peritoneal reflection goes toward this posterior surface of anterior abdominal wall. Now this total attachment of this, it will form falciform ligament. Therefore the falciform ligament is present in relation with this anterior aspect of liver to posterior surface of anterior abdominal wall in relation with, and it extends up to umbilicus. Now this falciform ligament, here it is upper attachment. From liver you know already. From liver attachment is about on the surface of inferior aspect of diaphragm. We will trace from this inferior aspect of liver in relation with liver. This attachment is in relation with fissure for ligamentum venosum, and in relation with there is attachment of lesser omentum. These are peritoneal folds. Lesser omentum, it is a small fold extending from where? From liver to stomach, indicated by arrow. Now this is a small aspect. Now this one is lesser omentum. Now this lesser omentum, it shows attachment to on the surface of liver, and then it will go toward this lesser curvature of stomach. Now in relation with this lesser curvature of stomach, it will cover anterior surface or anterior this surface of this lesser omentum. It will cover this anterior superior surface of stomach. Then it will go downward. You can see this is covering anterior surface of stomach, and it is going downward, forming these layers. At the same time, on this posterior surface of the stomach, it is covering this. From this lesser omentum, it is covering this posterior surface of stomach, and these two layers from greater curvature of stomach, it will go downward. Now this extension of downward, you can see layer 1, layer 2. This greater omentum will show total 4 layers. Now out of these 4 layers, first 2 layers, you can see outer layer is layer number 1. This one is layer number 2. Now these 2 layers goes downwards inside this abdominal cavity, again reflect upward. It will reflect upward and go towards transverse colon. It will go toward this transverse colon. and on the antero-superior surface of this transverse colon, it will show attachment. Now this upward going layers, again it will show two layers, layer number 3 and layer number 4. Now this layer number 3 and layer number 4, you can see here, layer number 1, it continue as a layer number 4. Again, layer number 1 continue upward as a layer number 4. But you can see layer number 2 continue upward as a layer number 3. Therefore, this greater omentum is having 4 layers, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Layer number 1 continue upward as a layer number 4, layer number 2 continue upward as a layer number 3. And these layers, layer number 3 and 4, shows attachment on the anterior-superior surface of transverse colon. From this transverse colon, it will get reflected to anterior aspect of pancreas, or you can say inferior surface of this pancreas. And this reflection, now this attachment, it form transverse mesocolon. This is transverse mesocolon. Now this transverse mesocolon therefore shows attachment in relation with anterior surface of pancreas. Again, downward reflection. From pancreas, this reflection will go down. You can see here, as it is a sectional view of abdominal cavity. This again, it will go downward, and as it go down, it will form mesentery. It will form mesentery. Now, this mesentery, it will form, or it will cover small intestine, jejunum and ileum. And this mesentery will show attachment in relation with this posterior abdominal wall. This is now downward extension. Now, in addition to this, there is one additional layer. Again, in sectional view, from posterior abdominal wall, this layer, not visible here, it will go downward, and again it will form sigmoid mesocolon. It will form in the same way as there is a formation of mesentery, formation of transverse mesocolon, there is formation of one sigmoid mesocolon. Now this sigmoid mesocolon again goes anteriorly and it will cover the sigmoid colon. And this fold of peritoneum known as sigmoid mesocolon. From sigmoid mesocolon, this peritoneal folds goes downward. As here it is not visible, sigmoid mesocolon not visible in this figure, but there is one additional fold known as sigmoid mesocolon. Now from sigmoid mesocolon, reflection will go down and it will enter inside this pelvic cavity. Inside this pelvic cavity, what happens? Now there is difference. What difference? In male and in female. Now in this figure, reflection of this peritoneum in relation with which organ present in male? Just anterior to this rectum. There is presence of urinary bladder. Therefore, rectovesical fold, you can see from rectum to urinary bladder. This fold will get reflected from rectum to base, upper part of this base of urinary bladder and superior surface of urinary bladder, forming rectovesical fold. Now this rectovesical fold will form a pouch, and this pouch lies near about 7.5 centimeter, just above anal opening in male. But in female there is a difference. What difference? In between rectum and urinary bladder, there is presence of uterus. Now this uterus will form one additional fold as compared to reflection of peritoneum in male. In female, what happens? There is presence of one additional fold. Which additional fold? From rectum. This peritoneum will get reflected to upper part of posterior surface of this uterus, and it will form recto-uterine fold and forming one pouch, recto-uterine pouch of Douglas. Now this pouch, it is 5.5 centimeter above this opening of anus. Now this reflection from rectum to uterus, it will cover fundus of uterus, and again it will get reflected to this urinary bladder in female. Now what happens? This reflection will form fold. This is uterovesical fold in female. Therefore, in female there are two additional, or you can say there is difference and two fold which present in female only. Recto-uterine fold and uterovesical fold. Recto-uterine and uterovesical fold. These folds are present in female because of presence of uterus in female in between rectum and urinary bladder. Now this is difference in between male and female. From here, from this urinary bladder, it will get reflected to again lower aspect of posterior surface of anterior abdominal wall. And in relation with, as it is reflected from urinary bladder, it will form again folds. Median umbilical fold, medial umbilical fold and lateral umbilical fold. Now these fold from bladder to posterior surface of this lower aspect of anterior abdominal wall below umbilicus. Therefore these three folds, median umbilical fold, medial umbilical fold and lateral umbilical fold. Medial umbilical fold, what lies in relation with this? Just in relation with median umbilical ligament. In relation with medial umbilical fold, there lies obliterated umbilical artery. And in relation with lateral umbilical fold, there lies inferior epigastric vessels. Now this is from this urinary bladder to infraumbilical part of anterior abdominal wall. Now next, as it is a reflection in relation with liver. You can see here in simplified form, diagrammatic form, there is presence of lesser omentum and greater omentum. You can see there is presence of stomach in relation with upper aspect. What is this? This is lesser omentum and this one is greater omentum. Now in relation with lesser curvature of stomach, there is attachment of this lesser omentum. Upper margin shows attachment on liver. We already covered fissure for ligamentum venosum, formation of this attachment, portae pedis and all these things. And it is upper attachment is in relation with liver. And lower attachment of this lesser omentum is in relation with lesser curvature of stomach. It will extend up to first 2 cm of duodenum. Now this one is greater omentum. Now this greater omentum will form a free fold and it shows attachment in relation with greater curvature of stomach. And this will, now you know, it is having 4 layers, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Out of this, one first layer will continue as a 4th layer and first layer continue as a 4th layer and second layer continue as a 3rd layer. Now what happens? It will show, this is greater omentum, it is free in this peritoneal cavity and it will show margins. It will show margins, lower margin, right and left margins. Now these two margins present on right and left side are right and left margin and one lower margin. Now what happens in this? In relation with this, we have covered this vertical disposition, and in this vertical disposition there is presence of folds. Now these folds in simplified form, again from diaphragm to liver, liver to stomach, stomach to greater omentum, then transverse colon, from transverse colon to after forming transverse mesocolon to pancreas, and from pancreas to again downward forming mesentery which will suspend this small intestine. From this mesentery again downward it will form sigmoid mesocolon covering this sigmoid colon. These are reflections. Now again, if you know vertical disposition, we can trace now easily horizontal disposition. What is present in this horizontal disposition? How will you trace? We have to trace this horizontal disposition at different levels. Below transverse colon and above transverse colon. Below transverse colon and above transverse colon. Now below and above transverse colon means below is simple, but above transverse colon there is presence of one opening, epiploic foramen, and this epiploic foramen lies in relation with lesser omentum. How? Yes, we will trace and where there is location of this epiploic foramen. Therefore, epiploic foramen lies in relation with lesser omentum, and therefore we have to trace this transverse disposition, or you can say horizontal disposition of this peritoneum in relation with this first at the level of epiploic foramen, above epiploic foramen and below epiploic foramen, in between epiploic foramen and root of mesocolon. First, below transverse colon. It is simple. Now, in this, you can see there is presence of freely moving greater omentum from surfaces of stomach. This is greater omentum. Now, this is posterior surface of anterior abdominal wall. Now, it is great reflector. These are medial umbilical fold, median umbilical fold, and lateral umbilical fold. From this umbilical fold, this peritoneum get reflected. This is tracing just below transverse colon. Now it is trace. You can trace posterior. Here it lies in relation with chordatus lumborum. Now after covering ascending colon, now there is formation of gutter. Right and left paracolic gutter. This one is paracolic gutter. Now after covering chordatus lumborum, it will cover ascending colon, and after covering ascending colon, it is get reflected as right layer or upper layer of this mesentery. This mesentery in relation with posterior abdominal wall shows attachment. Root of mesentery shows attachment in relation with left aspect of second lumbar vertebra, and it will go downwards and up to right sacroiliac joint. This is attachment of root of mesentery. From this root, now you can say this one is root, and attachment of this root is in relation with left aspect of second lumbar vertebra. It will go downward up to right sacroiliac joint. This is root. Now this is completely mesentery, and this is now intestine, small intestine. And now this mesentery, after forming mesentery, from right side, right layer, left layer is formed, and this is again reflected in relation with posterior abdominal wall on both sides. After covering this sauce major, it will again cover this descending colon, and then it will form paracolic gutter, left paracolic gutter here. In relation with posterior aspect, what lies there? Aorta and inferior vena cava. These two structures lies in relation with posterior aspect, and this is tracing. Now here, greater omentum is freely available here. 4 layers of this greater omentum in anterior to this mesentery, or you can say anterior to this intestine. Now, above transverse colon. Above transverse colon, therefore, opposite epiploic foramen. What is epiploic foramen? In relation with this posterior aspect of stomach, there is formation of lesser sac. Remaining part of this abdominal cavity now known as greater sac, and this small sac just posterior to stomach, posterior inferior aspect of stomach is lesser sac. There is formation of this lesser sac, and greater sac is because of reflection of peritoneum in relation with abdominal viscera. Lesser sac is a small cavity. It is a rubber water bottle like, and lies posterior to this stomach. This is a closed sac but having one opening, epiploic foramen. In relation with, which are boundaries of this epiploic foramen? Anteriorly, there is presence of lesser omentum. Posteriorly, there is presence of inferior vena cava. Now, superiorly, there is presence of caudate lobe of liver. And inferiorly, first part of duodenum. Therefore, it is a small opening. If it is in my body, it looks like this. There is presence of lesser sac. This one is epiploic foramen, which opens towards right side. Now this is lesser sac, posterior to stomach. Now this epiploic foramen, in relation with this, upper, lower, anterior and posteriorly. Above, caudate lobe of liver. Below, first part of duodenum. Anteriorly, lesser omentum, and posteriorly there is presence of inferior vena cava. Now this epiploic foramen opens towards right side of abdominal cavity. And now here again we can trace peritoneal deflection. This is liver. In relation with anterior aspect, there is presence of falciform ligament. There is reflection in relation with this inner aspect of abdomen, like this. And after reflection, this is tracing at the level of epiploic foramen. Now it will cover this right kidney, right suprarenal gland, and continue inwards inside this lesser sac. After covering inferior vena cava, aorta, then it will cover this kidney. Which kidney? Left-sided kidney. And inside this lesser sac, it will form one ligament, lino-renal ligament. But which layer? Anterior layer of lino-renal ligament. This is difference. We will trace which structure will form posterior layer of lino-renal ligament. This is forming anterior layer of lino-renal ligament. From here, it is reflected to spleen. From spleen, it will reflected or it will get reflected to this greater curvature of stomach, and it will form posterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament. After covering posterior inferior aspect of stomach, it will form posterior layer of this lesser omentum. Now, after reflection, it will form anterior layer of lesser omentum. Then it will cover this anterior superior surface of stomach. From here, greater curvature and fundus of stomach here. Fundus of stomach and greater curvature. It will get reflected to spleen, and it will form anterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament. Now we can trace anterior layer and posterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament. Posterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament is in relation with lesser sac, but anterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament is in relation with greater sac. Then from here, anterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament get reflected over the surface of spleen. It will cover the spleen, and from spleen it will get reflected to left suprarenal and left kidney, forming posterior layer of this, which layer? Lino-renal ligament. Therefore, lino-renal ligament from spleen to left kidney or left suprarenal gland. From here, from left kidney or left suprarenal, it will get reflected to this abdominal parietes, or you can say inferior surface of abdominal cavity. Now, above epiploic foramen, this is important because this lesser sac extends above this epiploic foramen. Therefore, in relation with this, above the level of epiploic foramen, what happens in relation with this lesser sac? Lesser sac will extend towards liver. Why? Because there is, which structure lies there? Above there is liver. From here, it is get reflected. Now you can see, in relation with this is lesser sac, it will completely cover this. Peritoneal deflection covers completely inner aspect of this lesser sac, and now there is lesser omentum, and this lesser omentum from stomach will show attachment to liver. Which structure, which part? Fissure for ligamentum venosum. We have already covered this attachment of this peritoneum in relation with liver. Therefore, it will show attachment where? To fissure for ligamentum venosum. Now, from this is fissure for ligamentum venosum. This fissure will show attachment of this lesser omentum. From here, it will reflected to this stomach, and again it will form this same continue gastrosplenic lino-renal ligament. Now it is about this above this at the level of epiploic foramen. After that, at the level just upper level of this epiploic foramen, it is lesser sac extension up to liver. Now, In relation with this, greater sac mainly lies, it is a large sac. Lesser sac is in relation with posterior aspect of stomach. Now this greater sac, it is a large and it is divided, or you can say peritoneal cavity, it is divided into supracholic compartment and infracholic compartment. Now in relation with supracholic compartment, there is formation of recess. How this supracholic compartment form? Boundaries of the supracholic compartment. Now you know greater omentum, lesser omentum, position of stomach, position of lesser sac, position of greater sac. In relation with the supracholic compartment, anterior boundary is formed by anterior abdominal wall, posterior aspect. Now freely mobile greater omentum, it will form posterior boundary of the supracholic compartment, and transverse mesocolon, it will form boundaries posteriorly. Now it is a space in between this anterior abdominal wall and stomach and greater omentum. Now this supracholic compartment, it is again divided. It is divided into right suprahepatic recess, right subhepatic recess, right extraperitoneal recess. First two recesses, right suprahepatic, also known as right intraperitoneal recess, right anterior intraperitoneal recess, and right subhepatic recess, also known as right posterior intraperitoneal recess. Now right suprahepatic recess, where it lies? It lies in relation with, now right means towards right side of liver. Right suprahepatic recess, suprahepatic, anteriorly. It lies anterior aspect of liver in relation with superior and anterior surface of liver and diaphragm and upper part of anterior abdominal wall. This is the space limited by falciform ligament. This is right anterior intraperitoneal recess, or you can say right suprahepatic recess. Now, right subhepatic recess. Right subhepatic recess lies below. Now, it is limited anteriorly by posterior and inferior surface of this liver, or you can say right upper margin of this right coronary ligament, upper margin of this coronary ligament, posteriorly by right kidney and right suprarenal gland, and continue downward to ascending colon. Now this reflection, liver to right kidney, right suprarenal gland, it is known as hepatorenal pouch of Morrison. Hepatorenal pouch of Morrison, and this recess also known as right subhepatic recess. Now right extraperitoneal recess, you know now two coronary ligaments present on right lobe of liver, upper and lower coronary ligament. This one is right triangular ligament. Space in between these two coronary ligament known as right extraperitoneal space or recess. Now left side. On left side same suprahepatic, subhepatic recess. These two recesses are intraperitoneal. Left suprahepatic, it lies again in between left lobe of liver and anterior abdominal wall. Then left subhepatic recess. Now this is simple. This recess is forming lesser sac, and we already described this lesser sac, which is a small bag-like structure. Left extraperitoneal recess, it is present on left side in relation with, which is limited by left kidney, left suprarenal and posterior, anteriorly by left lobe of liver, and which part? Non-peritoneal area of fundus of stomach, anteriorly. Posteriorly by left kidney and left suprarenal gland. It is a space, left extraperitoneal space. Now after supracholic compartment, infracholic compartment. Supracholic compartment, above this greater omentum and anterior abdominal. Now below, this is freely moving greater omentum inside abdominal cavity. Infracholic compartment. It is divided into two parts, right and left. You can see here, this is limited above. This is divided into right and left part. Now this is attachment of transverse mesocolon. This one is ascending colon and this one is descending colon. Now this is infracolic compartment is divided into right and left part. What is bonded? Which bonds form this right and left space? Above, this is the right space is a triangular. Above limited by attachment of this root of transverse mesocolon. On right side limited by ascending colon and on left side limited by root of mesentery. Apex lies below. Now left space again it is slightly triangular but boundaries on right side root of mesentery, left side descending colon. Now this space, these two right and left infracolic compartments. Now here in supine position, you know now what is meant by hepatorenal pouch of Morrison. It is space present on right side just posterior to liver and this is most dependent area. In supine position this is more dependent area or dependent part. Therefore any liquid, fluid or exudate can get collected here. And below inside this pelvic cavity there is formation of pouch of Douglas. You know now in female these two, therefore collection of fluid or liquid in supine position here mainly pouch of Douglas and hepatorenal pouch of Morrison. Fluid get collected here. Now in relation with this paracolic gutters, now you know these two paracolic gutters, right and left paracolic gutters in relation with ascending colon, descending colon side. Right and left paracolic gutters. Now what happens? Right paracolic gutter is in direct connection with hepatorenal pouch of Morrison. Therefore exudate can go downward with the help of this paracolic gutters to pelvic cavity in relation with this. Now one important here reflection which we have already covered. In female I want to show you for easy reflection. You can understand easily with the help of this. In female, I will take help of my assistant. Now, suppose this is uterus. Position anteflex, antevertebral. This is body of uterus, cervix of uterus and this is vagina. And these two are uterine tubes. Now, reflection of peritoneum in relation with this uterus. How? This one is peritoneal reflections. Now, this one is reflection of peritoneum in relation with uterus. Rectum, uterus. Recto-uterine fold. These are two uterine tubes. Also here, over the posterior aspect of this uterus, there it comes. But here, in relation with this uterine tube, it will form two-layered fold. Anterior and posterior layer of this peritoneum. Therefore, now you can see, it is forming a continuous sheet. This is peritoneal deflection from lateral margin of body of uterus to pelvic wall. And it is, now this one is broad ligament of uterus. This one is broad ligament of uterus in relation with this uterine tubes. Now it will show anterior layer and posterior layer. You can see anterior layer and posterior layer. This one is opening of uterine tube in female. Therefore, this broad ligament, now here it will show attachment in relation with margin of body of uterus. And this is about this broad ligament of uterus. In female only. In male, there is no uterus, therefore no broad ligament of uterus. And this opening of uterine tube lies in relation with this posterior layer of broad ligament of uterus. This is in simplified form. Therefore, this broad ligament lies in relation with uterus, uterine tube After reflection from rectum to uterus, there is formation of recto-uterine fold, recto-uterine pouch, and in relation with uterus, there is formation of broad ligament. And this broad ligament, how it looks like? It is having two layers, anterior layer, posterior layer, and it shows attachment in relation with this margin of body of uterus. Thank you. Now remaining part, in relation with this, these are reflections in relation with abdominal parietes, abdominal viscera. Now this peritoneum, it covers viscera and abdominal parietes. It is divided into two parts, parietal peritoneum and visceral peritoneum. This parietal peritoneum, it is sensitive to pain because this parietal peritoneum develops from somatopleuric layer of lateral plate mesoderm. Therefore, it is sensitive to touch, pain, temperature. But which covers peritoneum, which covers abdominal viscera, visceral peritoneum, it is insensitive to pain because it develops from splanchno-pleuric layer of lateral plate mesoderm. It receives only nociceptive sensations. It is not sensitive, or it will not receive which sensation? Touch, pain and temperature. But parietal peritoneum will receive this pain, touch, temperature sensations. Now structure of this peritoneum. This peritoneum, it is formed by mesothelial cells. Simple in structure. There is less activity visible in these cells, and these cells lies in relation with or over the surface of loose connective tissue. Cell organelles are very less in number, and these mesothelial cells are firmly attached with each other. It will show tight junctions. But in relation with this greater omentum, these junctions are loose. And therefore, this greater cells in relation with greater omentum can perform additional functions. Now, therefore, some fluid is present in these cavities in relation with greater sac, lesser sac, or in relation with this abdominal cavity. And this is known as peritoneal fluid. How it forms? It will contain secretions from these mesothelial cells or exudates from vessels in relation with this parietal peritoneum, visceral peritoneum. It is very less in quantity, but if this fluid will increase, it will cause ascites. And if this fluid get increased up to near about 1.5 liter or 1500 ml, it is visible or notable and known as ascites. What is function of peritoneum? It provides a slippery surface, gliding surface. Therefore, it will avoid friction in between different organs or viscera of abdomen. You know now, greater omentum is freely mobile. And this freely mobile greater omentum can go to any infected area of abdomen, and therefore it is known as policeman of abdomen. It can cover this infected area and seal it immediately. Therefore, infected material cannot go out or cannot spread easily. Therefore, this greater omentum known as policeman of abdomen. Now, this peritoneal folds carry arteries. It will show arteries, lymphatic vessels and all these things. Therefore, it will carry nutrition. This peritoneum shows macrophages, lymphatic cells, mast cells. Therefore, it will help in defensive mechanism. Also, cells help in absorption of some substances. It can excrete some substances like urea or these substances, excretion also. Then in female, after ovulation, oocyte will transfer through this cavity. Therefore, this peritoneum will help in transfer of this oocyte in female. Now, applied part. Peritonitis. Simple. Generalized peritonitis. It is a inflammation of peritoneum by bacteria. Reason may be inflammation, infection. inflammation due to rupture of this stomach, acid will come out, it will cause inflammation of this peritoneum. Infection with the help because of any bacteria, it may again cause this peritonitis. And this peritonitis, what happens if there is generalized peritonitis? There is cardboard rigidity of anterior abdominal wall. Why? Because there is spasm of muscles of anterior abdominal wall. Reason is parietal peritoneum get inflamed and it will cause severe pain. It will stimulate pain sensations. And therefore, because of spasm of these muscles of anterior abdominal wall, there is cardboard rigidity and it is tenderness is present in relation with anterior abdominal wall. This is known as cardboard rigidity, mainly in generalized peritonitis of this peritoneum. Thank you.
I would like to just integrate this gross lecture with embryology. So, we have already discussed in embryology that in the anterior abdominal wall, Dr. Patil has shown you, this is the median, okay, umbilical fold. This one is medial and this one is lateral, okay. So, अगर ये आपको याद हो, this median umbilical fold, it is formed by urachus, जो अपन पढ़ते थे एम्ब्रियोलॉजी में, urachus. So here it is because of this urachus, allantois का जो part अपन ने पढ़ा हुआ है, okay. This second one is the obliterated umbilical artery, okay. This is obliterated umbilical artery. I have already discussed the contents of the umbilical cord with you all, okay. तो हमने क्या पढ़ा था? 2 umbilical artery और 2 umbilical vein, okay. Out of this, left umbilical vein is left, वो रह जाती थी, है ना, and the right जो है वो obliterate हो गई. But umbilical artery were 2. तो वो जो 2 umbilical artery रह गई, वो जो after birth जो है, so this medial fold is because of that 2 umbilical arteries. This is umbilical artery obliterated, okay, this one and this one. तो बीच वाला जो fold है, that is median umbilical fold, median, और उसके बाद में जो है, that is the medial. Now just try to recollect, this is the lateral umbilical fold. ये lateral कैसे बना? Inferior epigastric artery, आपको याद आए तो, okay? So this one is that. Now you can see this is a mesentery, okay? And it is coming from behind, ये पीछे aorta और inferior vena cava. So this is the dorsal mesentery, okay? और अभी नेक्स्ट डायग्राम में आपको दिखाती हूँ, जिसमें आपको डॉक्टर पाटिल ने यहाँ वेंट्रल मेसेंट्री भी दिखाई हुई है. अब हम इसके एम्ब्रियोलॉजिकल बाद में ये क्या बना वो देखते हैं. So now you can see this is the आपका लिवर डेवलप हो रहा है, फेल्सिफॉर्म लिगामेंट यहाँ पे, septum transversum. You can see this is lesser omentum, okay, and ये stomach जो अभी आपने देखा, this is gastrosplenic and this is lienorenal, okay. So now stomach के आगे ये पड़ा हुआ है, so this was basically ventral mesentery, ventral mesogastrium, और ये stomach के पीछे है, तो ये dorsal mesentery जो अभी अपन ने इससे पहले वाले डायग्राम में आपने देखी है. देखिए ये, दिस इज द डॉर्सल मेसेंट्री, ओके. तो व्हाट इज द फेट ऑफ दिस डॉर्सल मेसेंट्री और व्हाट आर द मॉडिफिकेशंस इन द ग्रॉस? कहाँ दिखता है ये ग्रॉस में? नेक्स्ट डायग्राम में जो अपने को दिख रहा है. सो यू कैन सी ये जो पार्ट है वेंट्रल मीजेंट्री ने क्या बना दिया, एडल्ट में ग्रॉस में जाके लेसर ओमेंटम. ओके, सो लेसर ओमेंटम इज द मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ द वेंट्रल मीजेंट्री. कहाँ है, बिटवीन दिस स्टमक एंड यहाँ पे आपका लिवर आएगा. ओके, तो ये वेंट्रल लेसर ओमेंटम, तो ये किसका मॉडिफिकेशन हो गया, वेंट्रल मीजेंट्री का. अब ये जो दो दिख रहे हैं, गैस्ट्रोस्प्लीनिक लिगामेंट एंड लीनो-रीनल लिगामेंट, दीज टू लिगामेंट्स आर बेसिकली वो जो आपका पीछे डॉर्सल वाला आपने जो देखा था इसके पहले वाले डायग्राम में, दिस वन. ओके, ये वाला जो डायग्राम में आपने देखा है. So from here you can understand this gastrosplenic ligament between stomach and spleen and another is lino-renal. Lino मतलब spleen, सर ने बताया ही अभी आपको. तो ये दोनों किसके मॉडिफिकेशन हो गए, आपके डॉर्सल मीजेंट्री के मॉडिफिकेशन हो गए, ये दोनों के दोनों. ओके, एंड सर ने जो आपको अभी दिखाया, सुरती भाई खड़े हुए थे, ब्रॉड लिगामेंट, दिस आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस विथ यू इन द प्रीवियस लेक्चर, जो आपके फर्स्ट 3 लेक्चर्स हुए थे, ब्रॉड लिगामेंट, जिसमें मैं खुद खड़ी होके बताती थी. आई थिंक आपको समझ में आ गया होगा. ओके, थैंक यू.